Now, some breaking news to bring you here, and there's this. The Burnley MP, Oliver Ryan, has now been suspended by the Labour Party over his membership of that controversial WhatsApp group containing offensive comments. Let's get the thoughts now of our political editor, Christopher Hope, who joins me in the studio, and also Adam Cherry, who joins me. He's been out there with the tractor boys, but we'll bring you in a minute. Chopper, first to you. So this has been the big political story of the day behind the Farmageddon, and they've been compelled to act once more. Yes. On the Labour MP stepping out of tune.
So let's remind viewers and listeners about what's going on here. Andrew Gwynn was a former health secretary until the weekend. He had posted in a WhatsApp group called Trigger My Timbers. WhatsApp is social media. It's a bunch of friends or colleagues share information. But people do talk quite fruitily on these groups. Martin, no, you don't, of course. But in these groups,
perish the thought.
Andrew Gwynn had joked about a pensioner, suggesting that he hoped she, jokingly, but not in a very bad way, about whether this person would die before the election. Dear resident, F your bins, he wrote. I'm re-elected and without your vote, and something you.
Bleep you.
Bleep you. Hopefully you'll have croaked by the all-outs, being local elections. So Andrew Gwynn made some remarks over about 5 or 6 years on WhatsApp. These have been released by the Mail on Sunday at the weekend. He was then sacked by the Prime Minister. No letter of exchange, no letter saying thanks for all your hard work.
When you say sacked, he was demoted as a minister, but he's still a member of Parliament.
Yeah, only the electorate can do that, Martin. Yeah. He's no longer a Labour member of the Parliament. He's lost his membership of the party and the whip as Labour MP. So he's got the basic qualification of being an MP elected last election, and that's it. Now,
and also for the high jump, Burnley MP Oliver Ryan.
Well, that's the new information we have now. This moments ago, we've had a statement here from the Labour Party. They say that as a result of their investigation of this group, he has been administratively suspended as a member of the Labour Party. As soon as this group was brought to our attention, the party said a thorough investigation was immediately launched, and this process is ongoing in line with Labour Party rules and procedures. Swift action will always be taken where individuals are found to have breached the high standards expected of them as Labour Party members. With this happened after Oliver Ryan had a meeting with the Chief Whip. I would call it a meeting without coffee, in terms it wouldn't be a nice meeting for Oliver Ryan when he met with the Labour government Chief Whip earlier today. As far as we know, that might be the end of it, because we knew he was on the group, and he had been investigated since early this morning. This individual, Oliver Ryan, he's the Labour MP for Burnley. This WhatsApp group is now like kryptonite. If you're on that group and didn't speak out against what was happening, you could well be suspended. There's reports elsewhere that councillors on the group are also in some trouble, so it's not ending there. A warning, I think, of not posting things you wouldn't want to see in public anywhere, particularly on WhatsApp groups.
Adam Cherry, bring in this point. On what planet are these people not expecting, right? Because I tell my children, anything that goes on WhatsApp, be prepared that at some point it could go public, and so therefore don't post a single message. Now, we all have fruity exchanges, but these are elected representatives, and this is a terrible
so this is the point. I think there is a distinction here. Yes, if you're an MP or a councillor, you should have that expectation. You never know when something like this is going to happen, so couch your words and be sensible. I do think there is a chilling effect here, though, if we're saying, as you say, Martin, you tell your kids, everything and anything you say on WhatsApp at any time can be used against you. Do we really want to live in a world where private jokes amongst friends, where you say the taboo thing knowing it's taboo and that's the joke, it doesn't reflect what you really think, you laugh that you've said something that's a little bit shocking, and you expect that your mates will
Adam. Adam, they have broken the cardinal rule of politics here.
No, Chris, that's not what I said.
It's not a football WhatsApp group, is it?
Gentlemen, this is not what I said. What I said was, if you're in a private group with friends, you can have an expectation, which was to your point that you're telling your children not to say things on WhatsApp, which I disagree with. I do agree that if you're an MP and have been for some time, with hundreds of... we don't know how many people are on this thing, but there's not a reasonable expectation of privacy, so they were fools. But I think... I'm just drawing a slight distinction here, because I think it is a bad idea to go around saying absolutely everything you say on WhatsApp at all times should be considered in the public record. I think that's right.
But at what point, I give you Matt Hancock, Isabel Oakeshott, at what point do MPs not look at that and think, perhaps anything I say on WhatsApp could end up biting me on the backside? It's a no-brainer. These people, by consequence, therefore, seem to have no brain.
We don't disagree on that. He's an MP. He was.
Number 10 is saying they're not saying to ministers, get off WhatsApp, but you can imagine some ministers, MPs, will be looking through previous historic... These are historic. He started in 2017. I think Ryan was on it from 2019 to 2022. I should say what he's been saying today, by the way, about this on his behalf. He says some of the comments were completely unacceptable. This now suspended as a member of the party, Ryan. He says he fully condemns them. He regrets not speaking out at the time. He didn't see every message, he says, but he accepts the responsibility for not challenging them. He also made some comments himself, and he wouldn't make them today. And of course, he's quite a young guy. He's in his late 20s, but he's reaping the whirlwind here of getting involved. But being rude, I mean, some of the things he said were really appalling, actually, about there's a lollipop man who hit some homophobic banter, as described. I mean, things you'd never say in public.
Of course, yeah.
But don't say them at all, you might argue.
Just to finally jump in, because I want to make myself quite clear, I'm not saying these specific messages, it's all fine. No. First of all, they're public representatives. And also, I wouldn't say any of that stuff to any friends, but I'm making the broader point that you brought up, Martin, which is that you need to be careful on WhatsApp at all times. I'm like, okay, that's sort of damning indictment of where we are, isn't it?
Well, I think it's a basic self-defence mechanism for the 21st century and beyond. I just think somebody at some point is going to want to shaft you and get these things out there, particularly as you're a politician. I just think it's a bit of a no-brainer. I also think, by the way, I think the story's got more legs yet.
Well,
I think more screen grabs are going to come out.
I'll tell you why.
I've been contacted by people who've got more dirt on this yet.
The reason why is that the mistake was not to call it out when they saw it. Mm-hmm. So you might expect saying it is bad enough, but it looks here like if you're on a group and things are said and you don't call it out or quit the group straight away, you could be in trouble. That is a new, almost a new offence in terms of WhatsApps.
Yeah, I mean, see, I do kind of have reservations about that now when I come and think about it, because, I mean, where's it end? Like, you say something on a football terrace.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And you get reports.
But would you say something horrific about a lollipop man, even on a football terrace?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, you wouldn't. So why are you saying that? Why are you justifying it by saying that?
Not unless it's Derby County.
No, fair enough, but there's clearly there's sort of mission creep here that could happen, you know what I mean?
Aaron Bastani, what's your take? I mean, the comments were simply repugnant. Perhaps he just had to go.
They were repugnant, and I was just watching a conversation you and your guest and your colleague, Shippers, just had a moment ago, and I think it is quite easy to underplay actually how nasty these messages were. They were denigrating effectively the people who they're paid to represent. This WhatsApp group, and there's still other names to come out, included not just these two members of parliament, but also numerous councillors, I believe 9 local councillors. And one of the councillors, from screenshots that I've seen, has referred to local residents as, being so dirty they swim through sewage, young kids. And so you do wonder, if somebody's that misanthropic and dislikes the people that they represent so much, why are they in public service? Emphasis on public, by the way. You're meant to like the people that you're supposedly standing up for. That's meant to be the Labour motto, right? We're looking out for the little person. In terms of this gentleman, the Burnley MP, Oliver Ryan, as much as I know about him, he is effectively just a sort of party apparatchik, not much to him. A similar story with Andrew Gwynn, by the way. I saw people over the weekend say Andrew Gwynn, Corbynista. Not remotely true, not remotely on the left of the party, but equally, I would say, not on the right of the party. Just a career politician. He's been a councillor since he was 21 years old. He served under Corbyn. He was a minister under Keir Starmer until, of course, a few days ago. He supported Owen Smith in the 2016 leadership race. So, again, just a non-entity. And you do wonder, why do we have so many people like this in politics? So many people really with no clear political or moral compass, who in certain circumstances, like I say with these councillors, are very happy to overtly mock the people they're meant to represent. How do they end up in politics, Martin?
Yeah, it's a fair point. And I think you're absolutely right, Aaron, to talk about how this is going to balloon and grow and grow. I've been contacted by a councillor from Thamesmead. He says there are lots and lots more messages to come out yet. Lots and lots more people will be pulled into this web. And it's an area of the country, Aaron Bastani. We've seen a lot of political fracturing around the grooming gang inquiries. They're already at each other like rats in a sack. I wonder if this mass implosion of the area could precipitate into something more visceral, politically, locally.
Well, I hope it does. I hope it has massive political implications locally. Labour does take places like this for granted. It's in Lancashire. You've obviously got Angela Rayner in Stockport next door. And the reality is that across areas like this, the Labour vote is actually really under threat from two sides. You've got Reform basically gobbling up what was previously the Tory vote or the socially conservative Labour vote. You've got Greens often doing quite well. I think actually they came third in Andrew Gwynn's constituency in the last general election. And you've got the likes of the Workers' Party, who also did really well. So Labour's vote is already quite vulnerable on both sides. Then you have this, I think, accurate perception that actually they take these places for granted. And in many cases, in private, they're happy to deride and mock the people they're meant to represent. I think that's a real problem. So it's an image problem right now for Andrew Gwynn. If there is a by-election in this seat, I think shining that spotlight on that as an issue will be really interesting. And like I say, Reform could win that seat. Equally, the Greens could do really well and stop Labour keeping it. And those are going to be very important trends ahead of the next general election, because Labour are looking at losing this very big majority they have, but to a range of parties.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm afraid we have to leave it there. Thanks for your expertise. As ever, Aaron Bastani, thank you. Now, the Labour Party have issued the following statement. As part of our WhatsApp group investigation, Oliver Ryan has been administratively suspended as a member of the Labour Party. Swift action will always be taken where individuals are found to have breached the high standards expected of them as Labour Party members. Got a very, very quick 10 seconds, Chopper. Do you think this is symptomatic, as Aaron Bastani said there, of a nastiness within the Labour Party?
There are claims there could be left-wingers locally who may have fallen out with individuals, and we're seeing it erupt. It just shows to me that in politics, keep your friends close.